Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Indie Game Movement, the podcast that talks about the marketing and business of indie games. I'm Andrew Pappas. I'm going to be your host today, and this is episode 255, where we're going to be talking about how to get music you and your audience wants. All right, now finding a musician to compose your game music can be a task in itself, but understanding the process and communicating your vision can be more challenging than any dev would expect. That's why we have Dakota Sauve with us today to share his insights to help us navigate the music composition process so you can have something you love and your audience wants. So that's what we're going to be talking about right here today on Indie Game Movement. Hey everyone, and we're back, and today I have Dakota Sauve with us today. Dakota, how's it going?
Hey, good, Andrew, and you?
Not too bad. I can't complain. I'm a little stuffy today, only because I did some swimming, and I think I got more water up my sinuses than I cared for. So here we are. But I'm doing good. And how about yourself? I understand it's an early morning for you right now.
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. I guess it's not that early, but, I've got work after this, but I actually wake up at like 5 a.m. usually. I tend to kind of start it nice and early, so had some time to prepare before this, so yeah, feeling good. It's still dark outside. It's winter down here.
That's right, it's winter. Yep, it's muggy and rainy over here in the northeast of the U.S., so... Cool. Well, hey, glad to have you on the show and everything, and... So I'd love for you to just take a moment and introduce yourself in terms of, what you do for work and what else you do in your personal time, too, when you're not so busy with audio and music stuff.
Yeah, awesome. So my name's Dakota Sauve, as Andrew had said. People tend to say Suave, which is totally fine. Like, I'll take it. It's definitely not true, whatever you say, but I'll own it. Anyway, I do have a day job. I work as a project manager for an ICT company, but that's boring. We won't talk about that this time. I'm a freelancer sound designer and composer for video games. And I've been doing that for about a year and a half specifically, but I've been doing audio production for about 3.5 years now. I dabbled in it when I was younger. I used to be in like hardcore bands and stuff like that, sort of like Mick Gordon-esque, Bring Me the Horizon type. But not so much anymore. Now you'll find me playing, video game tunes and doing remixes and stuff like that of those songs. And yeah, it's quite enjoyable. I have actually dabbled in game development myself. I've developed a 3D platformer. I don't have a title yet, but it's nearing completion. Excuse me. It's probably at the alpha stage. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned how to use Unreal Engine quite a lot. I've done some tutorials and stuff like that just to get up to speed on it. It's been quite fun. We have quite the local scene here in Adelaide, which is awesome. So in Australia, we're sort of like, I guess, like Kansas or Cleveland, where I'm from, where it's sort of like the underdog of the country. And we love to throw that in everyone's face that we actually bring in, I think, 20 to 25% of all video game development income and size. So, yeah, we're actually quite a powerhouse in Australia for video game development.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And, one thing I would like to point out, too, is Dakota is actually the composer of the Season 2 theme as well. And quick story, because this one really stood out to me. He was on another podcast episode. What was it? It was Live Bullions, correct?
Yeah, that's right. A couple of friends of ours host that here in Adelaide.
Okay.
It's mostly there to just help game developers out as a whole, and they interview a lot of local talent. So that was quite fun.
It's a really good show. So if anybody wants to check it out, they definitely should. But what I want to say is the episode Dakota was on, and he introduced himself, and it just stood out to me, and it's not relating to this episode at all, topic-wise, but still an important thing in terms of what we discuss on the show in particular. So how I connected with Dakota was actually as you mentioned, he's a dev. He's listening to other podcasts and stuff, and he was listening to Indie Game Movement. And then he reached out and said, "Hey, look, I really like the show. I love what you're doing, but I noticed some things with like the audio quality, and I just figured because I'm a listener and I like what you're putting together here. I'd love to help you out with some of these things where I think I can help you improve the quality." So we connected. It was great, and then he just casually mentioned that, "Hey, by the way, I also like compose music and stuff. So if you're ever looking for something, or someone who's," and then sure enough, had a need, and I just wanted to point this out real quick, and then I'll be done. All that he did was he was just a big fan, listening to the show and wanted to help, and through that he got work and potentially got, I'm sure, a lot of things, and it's clearly a strategy he's using that's really effective. But he's leading with giving back, and I don't mean to put you like on a pedestal here, Dakota, but I think people, if they go in with the right intentions, can really make a lot more happen for themselves. And because of that, we're here today to have this awesome discussion about composition and freelancing, and why that and what that process is like to ultimately get people the music that they want for their audience. So sorry for that tangent, everybody. But it was just something that was that really stood out to me, and just something to always keep in your back of your mind when you're looking to connect with someone, or ultimately trying to get something in the long run. Lead with really standing out by helping other people out, or looking at ways like that. Okay, so Dakota, thank you for sharing that stuff about you. It really gives us an idea of the breadth of talent that you have, and everything else. But now I want to learn a little bit more personal stuff about you by going through the Q box round. So are you ready for that?
I am ready. Bring it on.
All right. What's at least one of your favorite musicians?
Yeah, so if we're talking composing, Grant Kirkhope is my all-time favorite. He's done Banjo-Kazooie and I believe the Rabbids Mario, and he's done quite a few films. But I am heavily influenced by Lena Raine and Mick Gordon. So very contrasting sounds there, but I like to mesh elements of all of them in my music. If we're talking just normal, like, just listening tunes, I would say Dallas Green from City and Color, and Alexis on Fire. So, yep.
Sweet. Sledding or tubing?
Tubing. I don't think I've actually been sledding. I've been skiing, but tubing's fun. You just sit on an inflatable raft and like shred down the hill. It's great.
That is awesome. Yep, I agree. Favorite childhood cartoon growing up?
Oh, Pokemon, hands down. I'm actually rewatching it. They just released like a Journey series, which is sort of like the Sword and Shield
okay.
version. It's not too bad. Like it's never going to be as good as the originals, but it's pretty good.
Nice. Final Fantasy or Zelda?
Oh no, you're going to get me canceled. I actually haven't played either of those, believe it or not. So I guess all credibility is just shattered right now.
No, it's okay.
I would say Zelda, because Koji Kondo is one of my favorite composers rather. And like Gerudo Valley and Fairy Fountain are two of my favorite songs. So they're like, just fantastic.
I would have to agree. Those are probably my two favorite as well. Like I could put Fairy Fountain on repeat. God knows how long. So, all right.
Do you like the Game Chops remix as well?
I'm sorry. Do I like the game what?
The Game Chops remix. I think Mikkel did it.
Yes. I'm a huge fan of Game Chops. It's one of the very few branded hoodies I own, in general, of anything branded. So, yes, that one is very good.
Brilliant.
All right, and what's this? I think I may have. I think I deleted one of your questions. Nope. All right, I'm losing my mind here. Okay, last but not least, what game are you playing right now?
To be honest, like I'm one of those people, like most game devs, who spend more time making them than playing them lately. But I am a casual gamer, mostly with friends doing like co-op first-person shooters. But I just booted up No Man's Sky recently, so that's really good.
Okay,
a lot of fun, nice and relaxing, I would say, compared to Deep Rock Galactic, which is the other game I rotate between, and Killing Floor 2.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, tried the new Pokemon Snap. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. It's almost like too chill for me and a little repetitive, but it's a good game. I feel like you kind of have to play it with somebody else in the room to enjoy it. And, it's more nostalgia than anything, I think. But anyway, just my opinion.
All right, cool. Well, hey, thank you for those answers, and there were some good ones in there, and it's okay. Like, I hope I didn't put you on the spot with between Final Fantasy or Zelda, but I think your answer was perfect.
No, it's fine. You can't. I'll even own up and say I haven't even watched Star Wars, so I might as well just come out of the closet again, but this time for game hatred. So good.
That's great, man. Well, it's important. I mean, there's no reason to hide from that. Like, everybody's different, and that's completely fine. Like, I'm sure there's things that I haven't done that people have probably questioned, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. All right, cool. So let's get into the topic now. Thank you for sharing that with us. And our topic today, as I mentioned earlier, is how to get music you and your audience wants. So to kick off this conversation, because I think this is like probably the biggest thing that is on people's minds is, in your opinion, what do you think is the largest challenge that devs have when they're trying to get music for their game?
I would say that a big challenge that most devs would face would be balancing budget and even deciding if they want to contract a composer for the game. It's very easy to go on the Unreal Engine marketplace or Unity marketplace and get asset packs, right? So just sort of pre-made music that's ready to go for you, which, there is merit in that. Like, music as a whole, especially electronic music production, is very sample-based now. So you're basically reusing other things and making it your own. But I just feel that you can't replace integrated adaptive audio that is customized for your game. But, of course I'm biased. Obviously I wouldn't. It's just one of those things that it could suit your game post, of course. Like, it would have a good feel to it. But I just feel like the game feel is really reliant on audio. Of course, there's visual aspects and actual gameplay, which is huge, but audio sort of is the glue for the feeling that you get for the game. So I think spending a bit of budget on, getting a contractor is important for this element. And not to mention, the market is quite saturated with composers. There's almost like memes out there, like composers just sliding into DMs for people and saying like, hey, do you need a composer? After the last post they made was them actually featuring their composer. So it's pretty bad these days. But it's also great because we have a big community around that. So
yeah,
I would say budget is the answer to that question.
Yeah. And, I think that's important too, because I'm sure that's like the first and foremost that people are thinking about is the budget. But also like other things. And you brought this up and it's a great segue here, but just the fact that it's really saturated. And because it's easy to get a sense of what you're looking for in terms of style and everything. But outside of that, and let's say if people consider their budget are like, okay, we definitely want a composer because of just, like you said, that customized, feel that they could get for to help bring the game together. But outside of sound and style, what are some other qualities that devs should consider or look for when they're hiring a musician?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I would say, yes, the market is saturated, and yes, there's a lot of talent out there. I'm definitely not, bashing how talented these people are. Like, it's incredible what a lot of musicians can do in the video game realm. It's just a different style of music. So I just want to iterate that. A few traits that would be very important when hiring a musician for game audio is technical knowledge. So it's basically become a necessary act that you know how to use middleware at the minimum. So middleware is basically the software that bridges bringing the audio into the game based on different parameters you can set. So if you say it's location based and you reach a certain location by a trigger volume or something like that, it would play either a certain part of a track, it would add or take away instruments, say, or it would go to a different track altogether, and it would sort of transition via cross